We can't gather in person this year, but we've adapted. The 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival brings the best in film from across the globe and around the corner. And this year, it's all virtual, so the films and events are coming directly to you. Join us for the 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival, October 15th through the 29th. More information is at mkefilm.org/MFF.
Hello, and welcome to Day 6 of the 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival, presented by Associated Bank. I'm Tiana, Community Outreach Coordinator for the Black Lens Program, and we are here for the conversation, Black Body, Movement, and the Beat, with TT the Artist, Director of the film Dark City Beneath the Beat. Special thanks to our community partners, True School, Dance Studio, Dance Works, and the Kothi Dance Company. Don't forget to cast your vote for the Alan H. Budd and Susan L. Seelig Audience Award. To do that, visit the film or shorts program page at watch.mkefilm.org, log in with your pass or ticket code, and click the button that says Vote Now, and you'll be connected to the form that serves as your ballot. Please don't tear your computer screen. As you've seen, we have a double up challenge happening. Thanks to the generosity of Judith McGregor and Richard Gallon, if we raise $75,000 during the festival, they will double it. So text double up to 44321 to donate, or go to mkefilm.org/members to become a member and help us meet our goal. Milwaukee Film couldn't do what we do during the festival as well as throughout the year without the support of our members. Members get access to free films throughout the year, discount on tickets, passes, and more. Plus, our members keep the nonprofit Milwaukee Film going. If you think that sounds appealing, join us. If you are already a member, thank you and help us spread the word. Special shout out to all of our Black Lens Council members too. Wherever you're watching us live, drop your questions and comments in the chat or comment section, and we will put them in the conversation. And now, here's Damar Walker, Artistic Director of the Kothi Dance Company, to facilitate this conversation with TT the Artist.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you, Tiana, for that beautiful introduction. TT, yes. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So this is the 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival. As Tiana said, this is day 6. This interview is Black Body, Movement, and the Beat. It's featuring TT, the Artist Director of Dark City Beneath the Beat. I'm super duper thrilled to be interviewing you today. So where are you, TT?
I'm currently in LA.
Okay.
Exact.
Is that home?
No, actually, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and then I moved to Baltimore, Maryland when I was 18 to attend art college at the Maryland Institute College of Art. And so I got my bachelor's. Once I got my bachelor's in fine arts, I moved to New York for a couple of years, and then around 2008, I moved back to Baltimore, and I was in Baltimore for probably the past 10 years, so to speak. So I recently moved to LA maybe like 2 years ago, and so I'm just kind of getting settled in, but COVID's had me kind of in the house, just in creative mode, actually. So,
yeah, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. So before I get into these questions about this beautiful film that you directed, I just want to know who and what are you bringing into the space? I think it's important for Black people to recognize that we just don't travel just as solo entities. Right. What you bringing into the space, lineage, identity, your thoughts, your feelings, who and what you're bringing into the space, TT?
Well, I think that one of the main focuses when I embarked on this journey to make this film about Baltimore's creative culture and the music scene was really creating a space for many of the creatives coming out of Baltimore, right? So we have music, dance, poetry, writers, singers. It's just oozing with all this talent. And, I myself, in my personal journey, became a local figure in the Baltimore community arts and music scene. And so over the years, I would put together events and, create spaces where we could come together and celebrate our uniqueness and our art. So I feel like with what I'm doing, I'm really community based with a lot of the work that I do in terms of my film, in terms of the music that I'm creating. So in the film, you get to see like many of these hidden figures coming out of Baltimore, like Mighty Mark, who's a music supervisor of the film, where we develop an all original soundtrack for the film. And he and I work very closely together on that. You have Unique, CEO, founder of Be More Than Dance, which is an organization that's really about mentoring young people, literally taking them from the streets to dance and just giving them an outlet to express themselves. And you have TSU Terry, who's just like super duper awesome. And he's kind of came out of that, you know, Be More Than Dance family, and now embarking on his own journeys, touring, you know, at the time before COVID, teaching Baltimore Club dance classes. And we just have a whole wave of artists, like over 150 Baltimore creatives that are featured in this film through collaboration, whether it's through the wardrobe styling, through the cinematography. Kirby Griffin, our DP, amazing DP, that really kind of helped, you know, solidify the overall image and look of the film along with myself. So, you know, we got a whole army we bringing up right now through this film, to be honest.
That's beautiful. I love that you repping. You're repping so hard. You know, I think about, you know, me and what I'm representing and bringing into this space. And, you know, it's all about dance, music, you know, Midwest born, Southern raised, you know what I'm saying? All of that good stuff, you know. So I'm super duper like appreciative to be able to be talking to you about this beautiful, beautiful film that you directed. You know, I found myself hard in terms of like sitting still because I had to interview you. Like, yes. I mean, I had moments where I'm like, I got to get these questions together. And then I kept thinking to myself, like, man, but this music is juking though. So it's so beautiful. Just the original music, the way that it's shot, it's so beautiful. It's so vibrant. And I know that you said that you are originally from Florida. And I just want to touch base with you again on what brought you to Baltimore and ultimately what inspired you to do a film like Dark City.
Well, to be just from the beginning, you know, as a student at the Maryland Institute College of Art, I was, you know, very shy. I was homesick, you know, coming from the South. It just felt like I was so far away from everything that I had grown up and known. So what I ended up, you know, doing was connecting with music. You know, I would play my radio or CD player at the time, not to give away my age or whatever. And, you know, I just.
Black don't crack, we.
Huh?
I said black don't crack. We out here.
Okay. It's all together. You know? But so I, you know, first was impacted by Baltimore Club music my freshman year in college in the Maryland Institute College of Art. And it just was something that I connected with. And by my senior year in 2006, I was like, man, I want to make a movie about this. Like, I want to make a documentary about this because it had impacted me in so much. And it became a space and a place where I found a community there I would like, you know, relate to. And also it became, you know, a big part of my musical journey and sound, you know, like me really discovering my sound through the culture of dance music because I started out with the roots of hip hop, you know? So it was really like around that time where I said, you know what, this has to be documented and it has to be shown in a certain way. But at that time, you know, I really didn't have any idea about film production or anything. So it took a course about over a decade to really get to where we're at now, you know, but a lot of failures along the way, a lot of like, you know, setbacks, but you know, now we're here and it's just amazing to see like what's happening in the film festival and people being so receptive to just this hybrid form of documentary storytelling.
Yeah, I think that's really, really dope. I think what I got out of what you just said is the importance of sticking to your vision, you know, to be able to have this idea, you know, and to be inspired by your surroundings and to say, I want to be able to really capture something that's truly special to me and to be able to really show it to the world that I think a lot of people just aren't familiar with, you know, to be able to have that. You mentioned college and I just think about being in the clubs in college during my undergrad and like being like entranced by like New Orleans bounce music because I went to school in Arkansas. And so I just right. So like we was like, you know, Juvie, Wheezy, you know, Hot Boys, all that stuff. That stuff was like everything when we were in college. So, you know, I just think about how important those times were to me, and to be able to see how that impacted you during your undergrad, to be able to make a film like that. That's just a testament to, I feel like, who you are and ultimately what you wanted to capture with this film. Mm-hmm. So, you know, TT, I want to know, what is it that makes Baltimore club music and dance so special?
Well, one, it's a very raw form of music, and it really literally comes from the response to the streets. You know, when you listen to club music, it has emotional hooks, emotional triggers for you. You know, we have the versions of the culture that's like, you got these songs where it's all about releasing and you know, dancing the pain away, like by producers like Raleigh, and then you have songs like Black Star, like Tote It, real classic club records that it where you hear the gun sound used as a kick drum. You know, it's like where we would hear percussion, we're hearing raw sounds that are literally taken from this concept of this city that's been, you know, for a long time associated with, you know, violence and trauma. And so to me, the club music sound is really raw and gritty, and also the newer sounds, we're more so incorporating more original vocals, because in the past it was a very heavily sampled song genre. Like you could sample the Supremes and, you know, put them in a club record. And so what made it difficult for a lot of producers to really gain success and notoriety outside of the city was because the music was so sampled and no one really knew how to clear those samples or had the moves to do it. So now, you know, evolving into the new wave, we hear more original vocals, and we hear, you know, that kind of started more, you know, a few years back, you know, where you had artists like Miss Tony, and then you had artists like Raleigh, and then Black Star, and then Rai Rai. A lot of these artists were starting to put vocal to tracks. And so now myself and Mighty Mark and a whole list of other, you know, producers and artists are now really tapping into the genre sound. And it's even spread it to Jersey club music and Philly club music. What a lot of people don't know, it started in Baltimore. Like the roots started in Baltimore, and the roots of Baltimore club kind of have house and hip hop breakbeat influences. So that's kind of like the way I would describe the music's, the anatomy of Baltimore club music in a whole.
Nice. That's awesome. So you mentioned in the film DJ K-Swift, who was really instrumental in bringing Baltimore club music to like the forefront. Yeah, and I just want to know, you know, it's important to really give respect to the people who really, you know, really push these art forms and give them, you know, their just due, and sort of seeing where they can take them. So, you know, can we get a little more information about DJ K-Swift, just about her importance on the art form and just, you know, just her as a person?
Well, you know, DJ K-Swift was a woman, and a Black woman, who was really a primetime radio DJ on Baltimore Club, #1 hip hop urban radio station, 92Q. And she was really responsible for taking a lot of the producers and the artists that were making club music at the time and putting them on mainstream radio in Baltimore. She was a gatekeeper locally. She was also DJing and putting out K-Swift mixtapes, Club Queen mixtapes. She was the original Club Queen, which is kind of like how I adapted Club Queen now, you know, under my own branding. But she was a woman who was really globalizing the sound, taking it out of the city, but also creating opportunities for the artists. And, you know, I felt that when she was around, she passed away a few years ago, but when she was around, the club scene was very vibrant. A lot of, you know, you heard it on the radio all the time. It just was really at a really high peak. But of course, a tragic death kind of left a void in the community. And literally, it seemed like everything went underground. Like seriously, like people kind of like were so hurt by that. And that was right around the time where I was kind of coming back into Baltimore and, you know, starting to really get into making club music and documenting the culture. And I just felt like I had this kind of this thing kind of blessed on me to continue what K-Swift has started in some way. I could not do exactly what she had done, But in some way, the message was clear that Baltimore artists needed outlets and they needed bigger opportunities and exposure for their work in order for them to be, able to sustain themselves as artists in Baltimore. Like I always say, like other major music hub cities like Atlanta, Miami, New York, California, LA. So, that's what K-Swift's legacy to me was about. Like, she was a mother of a generation and of club music. And so, rest in paradise, K-Swift. And I feel that if she was here now, there would still be a TT the artist, and then there'd probably be K-Swift and TT the artist, and we'd probably be working together. And I don't know why my path led me from Florida to Baltimore, to New York to Baltimore. But I do feel that now I have a little more idea on what my purpose is in that community. You know what I mean?
That's so dope. Shout out to DJ K-Swift, speaking her name. Black women are always in the forefront of these movements, so much.
And I just put a nerve because I say that because I feel that with Black women, not just Black women in music, but Black women in these genres, hip hop, dance music, I don't feel that they take the time to really, really write herstory, right? And so that's one of my things that I focus on, like this wall behind me. It's about herstory. It's about immortalizing and giving our women our flowers as influential game changers, tastemakers, and influencers. Yeah. And I think that not enough women or women of color get the platforms to really get that light shed on them. So that's also a part of the work that I do.
So, you just mentioned your wall, which, I was peeping, and I think it's hella dope that, I'm seeing like Missy, Kim, Cardi, Salt and Pepper. Who else you got back there on that wall?
We got Lauren, Nikki, Left Eye. We even got Megan up there. So I'm actually building out, it's called the Hip Hop Divas and R&B and Soul Divas. We got Erica back there, Alicia Keys. So like my whole goal with this series is like continue to paint portraits through my brand Black Pop Art. It's a collaboration with my friend Bree Burley. And we're just like really trying to like pay homage to the women that have really opened doors for all of us, but not just the past, support the present, So that's how women that inspire me in different, I could pull something from each of these artists that is on this wall. And, it's just like something that I really enjoy doing because like I said, I don't think women get that respect enough to share their history.
Shout out to you, TT. That's a beautiful wall you got back there. Some of my faves are on there. For everyone, if you're tuning in, we would love to get some comments from you. For TT, you got anything? Just chime into the comments for us. We gladly appreciate it. Yeah. So, what really stands out to me in this film is, like you said, the various art forms that are like weaved throughout. Like I said, it's really dope that, you took the story, but you also weaved it with like a lot of the rap, the spoken word, the music, of course, the dance. But what really stood out to me, of course, was the poetry, the spoken word. And these words really sort of like hit me like right here, TT. We are honored to be an Underground Railroad in audio form. These are made from our intestines. These colors from our bloodline. Our dance steps are just tears in portable form. So, when I hear stuff like that, I think about how often performance art is like a place of refuge for Black folk. And, I think about this idea of like creating home within ourselves because we're often like displaced from like pretty much everything. And so we carry a lot of that with us and how we sort of express that through our performance art. So, I think about like, what is it that we can do as a culture, you think, to better sort of affirm and protect ourselves while preserving and evolving forms like Baltimore club dance and music?
Well, I think it starts with ownership. It starts with ownership and taking ownership of our art. I think we're so quick to like pass on, these ideas of our own to more corporate entities instead of coming to the table as an equal partner. You know what I mean? I think that we see people like Tyler Perry and Oprah and Diddy and, Swiss Beats, a lot of these artists, and and celebrities now are starting to use their platforms to kind of explain and support the diaspora and support, you know, the voices of people of color in our art and take ownership of it, you know. And I feel like that's what we have to start to do. We have to open up our own venues. We have to create spaces for ourselves in order to really be respected, you know. And so I think it's a great time in the film industry, because I've had a lot of meetings with different networks, and I think it's a great time in the film industry because they are looking for, you know, Black stories. And I feel that now is the time to take advantage of it, you know, take advantage of the budgets that are being offered to us. Like, we all kind of know what it is. You know, we know a lot of these companies see what's going on. They see Black Lives Matter movement. They see that people are really, like, you know, starting to push the buy Black, support Black narratives. And, you know, we're really starting to wake up and see how valuable we are, right? Yeah. And so in order to do that, there has to be a shift in the corporate world. They have to open the door and let us in because the market is changing. And so I think that that's where we really, really make our stamp, is by creating ownership and building our platforms out where we can support our own, on top of, you know, keeping a broad perspective on our demographics and our networks and our target audience. But really, really, we just need to really make sure we're keeping our own in the forefront of our mind, because I think that's what other cultures do.
Mm-hmm. You hear that, artists and creators out there?
That's women, people of color, LGBTQ, as far as those are the types of communities that, you know, I'm constantly like finding myself surrounded by, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Gotta know your worth. Yeah. What do you say to people who say that once, you know, our art sort of gets into a lot of those corporate spaces, that it sort of loses its luster? You know, what do you say to people like that?
Well, what I would say is, you know, when you're creating and you're giving opportunities, especially when it comes down to something where you're not necessarily the sole investor, or you're not necessarily the company, you know, you're partnering. It's a partnership and it's a collaboration. So if someone comes to you with a budget and they want a film to put out on their platform, you got to look at it like, this is still an opportunity for me to show some of myself. But then you take that opportunity, and whatever comes out of that, you continue to do the work on your own. You continue to do your own work as you're still doing collaborations, you know. But giving up some control in terms of like the creativity sometimes is a part of the game in order to really get the story out there. Sometimes it's just steps, it's levels to it, you know. So when you're starting out, if you're not the hottest buzzing name in Hollywood right now, you're not going to necessarily get the top pick jobs. So how do you make it through and navigate through that? From my experiences, I'm like totally in a mode where I'm like, well, I'm going to create my own visuals. You know, I'm going to utilize the network that I've been introduced to recently and see where I can collaborate with those individuals who are also feeling the way that I'm feeling. And we have a thing called, keep saying this concept, creative capital, where it's like, you bring your creativity, I bring my creativity, and then whether we don't have any money, me teaming up with a DP and some talent, we can still make a project happen if we all are on the same page and have the same goal. And then we could take that project and try to get that funded. You know what I mean? So you just got to get creative these days and figure out like the best way to finesse every situation that it is beneficial. And that's just as black as white as I can be, because that's just the industry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
got to get creative, got to be resourceful, you know.
Exactly.
You know, we got all this talent in this gift. We got to utilize it in the best way possible. We got a question from the comments. Yes. Shout out to my homie Mikey. Mikey asks, what advice do you give to Black artists who want to carry on the legacy of not only the Black community, but the city that raised them?
What advice would I give the Black artists who want to carry on the legacy of not only the Black community, but the city that raised them?
Mm-hmm.
I would say come back. I would say, you know, when you get to a place where you have reached a certain amount of success, come back to your community, mentor someone. If you're at a financial position to do something, build something that will help the community, something for the young people. I know in Baltimore, it's not really many recreation centers and outlets for kids. So they end up in the streets. And, you know, of course, one of my long-term goals is to actually come to Baltimore and like build a dance studio, something on the level of a Broadway dance studio, Alvin Ailey, that we see in New York. Like, I don't know why we don't have that in a central location that houses Baltimore club music, Vogue dance, street form style dance cultures that I feel deserve to get the same amount of like respect genre-wise as ballet or classical. Like, these are Black people, dance, hip hop, breakdance, and all that stuff should be offered, you know, at top level, exactly, at top level teaching. So I think that the biggest thing is definitely like bring your community up with you, because if you do that, you will never be alone. You will, you know, they will go to bat for you. If the trolls is out there on the internet talking about you're this, you're that, your community will speak up for you. You know, there's nothing you can say. There's nothing no one can say about you if you're taking something and you're putting it out there and bringing attention. Like, just along with the film, that I feel is happening is that more people are seeing these stories of the characters in the film, and I'm already seeing the increase of opportunity. You know, we have artists getting grants now to help fund their, you know, their visions, the studios, the dance competitions. We are also getting an influx of like the people in the film wanting to do more. You know, now make their own stories and films. So I feel that is when, you know, it works best, is when you bring your community up and also come back and make sure you're staying connected.
Yeah. The wonderful Issa Rae is one of the producers of Dark City Beneath the Beat. How you link with Issa? How did that hookup happen?
Issa's we've basically been internet friends for like 4 years. I mean, I met her on Twitter, and well, actually what happened was I got emailed a request to get one of my songs on her TV show, Insecure season 1. And, you know, I sent her a Twitter DM like, thank you, you know, for that opportunity. And we talked back and forth. And there was one time I came to LA and I was able to, you know, be on set one time. So I've been working with the show musically since it started. So I'm featured on every soundtrack, right? And so last season, season 4, I actually had the opportunity to shadow direct. And that was kind of when we really, really connected. And I got a chance to share my film and trailer with her. And after that, it was kind of history. She was like, well, let's see what we got to do. And Denise Davis, shout out to Denise Davis and Ashley Calloway. They were launching Color Creative, which is Issa's management brand that supports underrepresented voices, directors and writers. And so they had presented the opportunity to manage me in that way and basically help me as a director to, you know, get the film out there and come on board with some of the post-production needs. And I thought, you know, it was just great to have that type of support, but especially from Black women. You know, I was like, this is amazing. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have wanted my cosign to come from anywhere else, to be honest. And I feel like now I have a team of people who are really, really, really pushing for me and my next projects. And so that's just great. It's a win for everyone, you know, because the more I can do and help my community, it's just more empowering for me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Issa. Yeah. Who bodied SNL over the weekend.
Oh, she bodied everything. Like, I'm so inspired by her.
She's amazing.
So I hope to follow in her footsteps, you know what I'm saying? And just be, you know, right up there with the Issas, the Lenas, the Avas, the Jordan Pills. Like, I mean, I got big goals, you know what I'm saying? I'm just getting my foot in the door. However, I feel that there's a certain, you know, genuineness and integrity to my approach to things, and also creativity that's like unboxed. So, you know, I'm really out the box thinker, and I feel that, you know, I'm around the right people that are really, really believe in me and allowing me to kind of flex my creative muscle.
Yeah. You handling it though. You handling it. Yeah. You're welcome. So as a dancer and choreographer, I often think about the importance of dance as a cultural practice. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Black folks, specifically in places like Baltimore. Mm-hmm. I think it gives provides a safe space to be validated, you know, and I think about, you know, that sense of community that it creates. And what I think a lot of people often don't realize is how it also creates this space where, you know, the artists can be commentators on the culture, you know, specifically about what's happening, and think about how social dance has always been connected to like what's happening in the time, like, you know, with our people, you know, doing the jerk and like, you know, the Cabbage Patch, you know, and stuff like that. And even thinking about, you know, Baltimore club dance, you know, with like, you know, sort of like those fundamental moves, like, you know, the SpongeBob and things like that. What do you think is some of the biggest misconceptions about Baltimore club dance and music?
Well, I think that a lot of people think it came from Jersey. That's a big one. It didn't. Like it started in Baltimore, so we'll clear that up. But Jersey is doing amazing things and has evolved the sound in their own way. You know, I love Jersey club music, and you know, so I think it's that's one of the just to start. For starters, a lot of people who hear Jersey club or club music and they automatically go to Jersey club. And I think a lot of that also has to do with the relationship between where Jersey is. Jersey is next to New York. So a lot of the opportunities for radio play, and, you know, I just think it's closer in the advertising world in New York. So you're going to hear more. You know, violent, like, you know, people thinking club music culture is violent. And it's actually really filled with love and community. And you know, that's the community that I came up in when I was, you know, in Baltimore. And so for me, it's just like a lot of people would see it and just think, you know, oh, they hear gunshots in the music, or they hear this and that, or they might hear people using curse words and all that and think it's violent, but it's really not. It's really just, it's more like a reflection of the state of mind, you know, of the city, of what young people are going through, or ways that to cope. It's a way to cope. So I would definitely think those are two things that, you know, I think give club music a misconception when people are not familiar with it.
Yeah. You know, I think what's really great about just our history, when I think about just like our artistic history, Black folks, is how it's always in the music and the dance. You know what I'm saying, TT? Like I think about what's the song from back in the day in the 60s, like Dancing in the Streets. You know, I think people don't realize that song was about uprising. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly. Yeah, like I feel like I do that a lot in my music too. Like I have a song called Everyday Black Girl, which has this like smooth house vibes, but then at the end goes Baltimore club. Like I like to actually, you know, mix a lot of genres within and have the influence of club music underneath. So like Everyday Black Girl, then I have Stay Black, which is a song featured in the film, you know, and I feel like Stay Black is a protest song, you know, with what's going on. I actually played it. I marched in a protest this year, and I played it. And I was just like, you know, this is something that I naturally respond to, you know, and I don't think about it too deep until after I've done it. I'm like, wow, you know, I really made something here that could probably play out for a long period of time, you know. But it's like I always think about the music and, you know, what's going on with the times also. That's why a lot of my music is very, you know, women empowerment. And I want to, you know, through my record label, Club Queen Records, which is a woman-focused label that I started, you know, to really, really build out a platform where women can have a space in the music industry that they're supported, you know, not necessarily forced to change who they are, but evolve. So I feel that yeah, like that's kind of like, I think history and music and all that stuff goes so close together, you know?
Yeah, that stuff it's so important. Yeah, we got to cherish that more, you know? What I love about Baltimore club dance is its technicality and its virtuosity. And I say those two things and I mention them because, you know, like you said, people have a huge misconception that if you don't have certain type of techniques in your bodies, that you're not considered a dancer. And a lot of that is centered, of course, around a lot of Eurocentric white dance forms, you know, the ballets and things like that. But, you know, no one can walk into Baltimore and pick up Baltimore club dance. You know what I'm saying? Unless they're like literally of the culture, you know. And what I love about it is the fact that if you look at it, its lineage is literally the diaspora. And that's what I love about it. Like, you know, the footwork, like I think about a mass character dance from the Ivory Coast called Zaoli. you know, which a lot of people sort of correlate with a lot of Chicago footwork dancing. You know, I think about traditional West African dances like, you know, Soli, you know, Manjani, you know, which are like coming of age dances for like boys and girls. You know, of course, thinking about a lot of stuff that's been created here in the States, you know, of course, you know, like the Lindy Hop, the popping, the locking, the breaking, and like how so many of the people in the film like infused a lot of that within the style. And I love how people just make it their own and how it keeps pushing the form. So from your perspective, what is it that you sort of see for Baltimore club dance and music for the future, for its future?
I mean, for the future, I definitely see it expanding into just different lanes. I think that what we're going to start to see more again is we're going to start to see it becoming a legitimized genre of music, right? You know, we recently got an official Spotify playlist for the genre, which
Wow.
is a big deal because prior to that, it was hard to search, you know? So there's an actual official Spotify playlist now available. And that really came out of us just screaming, hey, recognize what's going on. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was a really, really, really big thing that came out of, you know, post the film being out. I think you're going to see, of course, more films, more, we're working on a dance competition show, just, you know, just a little seed we're planning. I'm just letting you know it's coming. But I'm teaming up with Unique and we're working on a dance competition show, which I think is going to be amazing because it really, it'd be like, kind of like it would really take you deeper into the city and the lives of some of these young people. And so, the music, our soundtrack is actually coming out from the film when the film comes out next year officially. So, you know, we're going to have music coming. I'm excited about that because it's just like really, really good music.
Yo, I just want to say, TT,
yeah.
the music in this film,
Yeah.
like I said, I couldn't stop moving. I was like,
it's
trying to get these questions together, but yeah, the music is so dope.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that's how it all started with the music. We created the soundtrack for the most part and then built the film out from that. And that's like, It was working backwards, you know what I mean? Like, whereas you might be making a film and you get the sound to go with it. Now we had we had thought of these ideas. And then I was like, you know, I'm coming from a music video background. So for me, it was like, okay, let me take these elements and then put it in a feature concept. And, you know, we had to work, you know, working with the budget, you know, we had like, it's just, you know, I feel like it became something that I didn't even know and realize what I had done till it was done. You know what I mean? Like I said, this thing had evolved in so many different ways, you know? But yeah, I just think it's going to continue to expand.
Yeah. That brings me to the next question from the comments. Tom asks, during the process of making a film so filled with performances and community like this, how did you decide when you were actually finished?
That was the hardest part. Like I felt that even now I look at it, I'm like, ooh, I would have did this. You know, it's like doing a painting. You know, it's never done. You can always work and add layers and layers and layers, but at a certain point, you know, you just got to be like, all right, this is good where it's at, and you know, that's kind of like when I knew it was done. Is I had played it for a few friends, and I also played a work in progress edit for the people of Baltimore. And I just was like, okay, it's done. You know, I think the point it gets across, and you know, it's short in terms of like what a lot of people will reach for a feature is like an hour and a half or something like that. But like at the time, you know, I was really trying to push for the festival market, so I was trying to keep it between 65 and 70 minutes, and you know, but I didn't want to push it because in that film, very easily it could go into each individual having their own spinoff story. You know what I mean? So 1 second too many and this character, then the film becomes about them. And I just really wanted to keep it like, there's no real like, a lot of people say, you know, it's not a linear storyline. Like, it's not like that. It's more of a like montage, a journey. It's like, once you're here and then we take you here and it's like emotional triggers and things like that. So That was really my goal. My goal was to one, by the end of the movie, you know what Baltimore club music is, and you feel something. You feel something. You feel activated. You feel inspired. You know, to even want to look up these artists and explore more. I didn't want to give it all away because then what would you have to want to research, you know, or look up? So I just wanted to keep it a little open for people to make their own judgments. You know, when I was working on the edit.
Yeah. There's a place that was mentioned in the film called The Paradox.
Mm-hmm.
That was really instrumental in sort of, you know, really preserving this beautiful art form. Is The Paradox still open, TT?
Nah, it closed a few years ago, and when we filmed, we just kind of felt like I definitely wanted to film there. And what's crazy is years ago when I first started doing the film, I had some footage, some very like archival footage from the Paradox. But I thought it would be cool to like still go there, and because at the dock you could like really feel like the music from outside, waiting in this long line to get into the club, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could hear the vibrations of the music, and even with the club being closed, as I stood out there and we filmed, I could feel the energy still of the club. You know what I'm saying? So like, to me, that's kind of like what that scene represented. You know what I mean? It was also a moment to kind of show people like break down the dance moves, you know, and show people like these are the dance moves, you know, the elements of club dance.
Mm-hmm.
So, we had TSU Terry kind of lead that whole experience. But yeah, Paradox was definitely a landmark in Baltimore for the culture.
So dope. So dope. So, you know, what's really, really special to me about this film is the story centered around the King and Queen of Baltimore competitions.
Mm-hmm.
I love those segments. What I really, really love specifically is the fact that you dispel the myth about men dancing, specifically Black men. Like, I feel like even in 2020, it's still very cliche.
Yeah.
But like, Baltimore guys get it in, like,
pretty much.
You know, you put money in front of it. They like, let's go. I mean, to do something that, you know, they've grown up doing, you know, probably since they were, you know, young guys. That's beautiful. You know, how long have these competitions been in existence?
I believe Unique is going into his either 9th or 10th year. Non-supported, non-grant funded. Like, he's literally funded these dance competitions himself, and that's why he was really one of the most important people for me to highlight, because this shows you someone who is giving back to their community despite what people think and how they want to show Baltimore. Right? I think showing stories like Unique stories shows that there are active people in the community who deserve support. And we don't necessarily always have, like he says in the movie, the grant writers and the people to like pull those strings for them. But they're very much so doing the real work, and Unique is doing the real work. And so I didn't even look at it like that, the way you framed it about dispelling these myths on the Black men dancing. And I think that's an awesome comment, because it's like, this is not just like dance for them. This is their therapy. You know, and they have brothers now, family, extended family that they've created from just being in this circle. It gives them something to do, you know what I mean? And I love that. And any way that I can use my platform to support these type of initiatives, that's like really, really one of the main things that really keeps me motivated as an artist and community artist.
I mean, so engaging, so enthralling, you know, like those competitions, like, they go hard. I mean, I was there, like, I almost felt like I was there and the walls were like, was sweating like with them. I was like, y'all better dance y'all lives.
And that's crazy, because in the film you kind of see short snippet of that, but that whole scene was probably like an 8-hour day of shooting.
Yeah.
So I have so much footage that I didn't even use in the film, but it's cool, you know. But it's like, to really be there, you're right with her. So by the time you get to the finals, you're like, okay, you're amped, you're ready to see who wins. And it's 8 hours of pure energy.
Mm-hmm.
Pure energy.
What would you tell a young person, specifically in Baltimore, who wants to do this? You know, like, I really want to do this dance music thing, but they feel like they can't because of lack of support or resources. What would you tell them?
Well, I would say that I'm the DIY queen. Like even in my career now, you know, no one's just thrown money at me, waited, or I had to come to the table with something, you know. I didn't have the resources at first, but you have to get proactive about how you find your resources, right? So Google is free, right? Go to the library if you don't have a computer and type in grants to support Black musicians, grants to support Black filmmakers, grants to support queer filmmakers, grants to support queer musicians, like grants to support women. Google search, right? Then you start to write those proposals and submit, right? So it's like, you just got to get active and really do your research and do the real work, because if you're not doing the real work, then you're still just going to be sitting there looking at a blank wall. And so for me in my journey, when I didn't have the money, I then reached out to people to see, hey, do you want to collaborate? Like before I even shot Dark City, I was showing up with a friend who may have had a camera, or I had my own camera, and I was showing up to Be More Than Dance's dance events and just filming just because, and I would give them the footage. I'd be like, here's the edit, here's the footage, because I wanted them to have better content on YouTube. So like, I was really one of the first people coming to Baltimore shooting dance in HD footage, right? So like, I started to see more people. The blogs then started coming. I saw that, you know, I was right there in it. And so that's what I would say to someone who feels that they have minimal resources. I would say that's how you can, you know, get ahead of that.
What makes a good Baltimore club music?
Sorry, my charger dropped.
That's cool. What makes a good Baltimore club music and dance artist?
Okay, so what makes a good Baltimore club music and dance artist? One, you have to have good hooks. Club music is not defined by verses and bars and stuff. It's really defined by a catchphrase, like coming up with something that's really, really, really catchy that can like then get chopped up, right? And that's kind of like how you define a good, like as far as vocalist, like someone who really knows how to ride the club beat, because it is a certain type of way to ride a club beat, right? And then producer-wise, it's all about the energy. It's about the kick, the claps, and the sounds and elements that you're using. Like there's battle club tempo, then you have like more traditional tempo, then you have sometimes club music that's kind of slowed down. So, you know, we're starting to see now more mainstream artists rap on club music and go platinum. I just hope that they will then go to these regions like Baltimore, Jersey, Philly, and reach out to the artists that are authentically pioneering this movement. You know what I mean? Like, please share your platform with those artists, because I think they do a disservice when they don't, you know what I mean? And it just looks fake, you know? And so it's like, why not give back to the artists that really you're inspired by? But, you know, you have the outlets and you have the platform when you're a mainstream artist. And a lot of people still don't know, oh, this is club music. So if you can just take one person from that city and be like, give them some love or give them a shout out, you know, that can bring back a lot and do a lot for that artist in their city. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. This is Dark City, Beneath the Beat with TT the artist. Yeah. If you have any questions, yeah, make sure that you actually put them in the comments. Yeah. We want to hear from you all. Yeah. Who's tuning in with us. What is one of your favorite memories about doing this music, attending competitions? Like, what is something that sticks out and you're like, man, like that's amazing, thinking about just this amazing art form that you've been able to centralize in this type of film?
I think what makes one of the things that I see that really triggers me and makes me feel like this is something so special is when I see the young kids, you know, like the Yana babies and the kids that's like the next generation coming up. Mm-hmm. They're like already killing it. Like they're doing the social media thing, you know, And that's a reflection of like the evolution, right? So it's like, when I see that, I'm just like, wow, this is like something that is just a natural thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a Black thing. It's a community thing, you know? And I keep telling people that, like, this is not my film. This is Baltimore's film. This is a community film. Because I don't, I think the difference between this film and a lot of other films that come out of Baltimore or are inspired by Baltimore, I think you will not see Baltimore in this way in any other film right now. I guarantee it, because we're not just, it's not necessarily focused just on club music. Like, it was important for me to show you that Baltimore has a beautiful museum, art museum. Baltimore has a market, a legendary landmark market, Lexington Market, Inner Harbor. We have these like underground bars, and we commune in these different spaces. And so I just feel like it was just a different approach where you actually get to see Baltimore in a different way, And so I'm really excited, and I've been excited about the evolution of it all, and the people that are coming on board to support and get the message out there, and know that you can book artists and talent out of Baltimore, and you don't have to necessarily leave Baltimore always, to get success. But, we have to travel to get the word out there. Like, I feel like I had to, me being an artist, I traveled in general, I spent time here, there, everywhere. So I just think that I'm a bridge in connecting, and I want to make sure that I do my part, and stay connected with as many people as I can, and I leave myself open to the artists to hit me up when they need advice. If they are, I get it, because you said, how do you work with these artists? How do you give them advice? Like, they hit me up all the time, and I make sure that I'm try to carve out a moment, no matter how busy I get, to like give them some advice. And that's just kind of me, something that I hold to myself.
That's so dope. Art is always a connector. It's always a connector. You sort of touched on it a little bit. I fell in love with a lot of the people in the film. So, for me, I just want to know, like, if you could give us like a brief update on like Unique, of Be More, The Dance, Yana Baby, Denim.
Oh wow! Everybody.
Fat Girl, like, tell us about, those folks. Like, what's going on with them right now?
So, me and Unique, we're talking about our dance competition. So look forward to that. We're getting ready to shoot a pilot for that, and it's coming. It's gonna be amazing. Fat Girl, rest in peace. She was an icon. Really would have been one of the key artists in this film if she was still here. And we all miss her so much. And so like, her legacy will live on. That's why it was important for me to have a moment for her in this film, because I wanted her legacy to live on, and the legacy of her children and her sister and her family, and her mother being just an amazing woman who always opened her doors up for these young people. And, Denim is another artist that I'm continuing. We're working on something too, Denim and I'm in development a lot with a few projects, and I'm going to continue to reach out to my network of Baltimore talent and keep them involved and, in the loop. And shout out to Mighty Mark, TSU Terry, TSU Rum, TSU Flash, and Olu Butterfly, the poet, Kanzwani Fidel. He just dropped a book. I'm just amazed at it. It's all just like coming out in an amazing way. How all these artists are just really, really evolving into their own brands. I just love to see it.
It's so dope. So dope.
Also, if you haven't already, make sure you watch the film on Milwaukee Film Festival.
Yes. Please make sure you go see it. Yeah.
Yes.
MilwaukeeFilm.org. You gotta get into it. You gotta get into this film. It's so beautiful. What's really cool is this nickname for Baltimore, Be More. Yeah. And it was very much central throughout the film. And I want to know from you, we sort of wrapping up real soon, but I want to know from you, like, what does it mean to quintessentially be more? So meaning like to be more, but also like in terms of like Baltimore, what is, to be quintessentially Baltimore?
I think be more is being more than what the world and society tries to label you as. You know, like they could say you a young kid coming out the hood, out of Baltimore, you're destined to be locked up and a drug dealer. But you can come and show them something totally different because you are not a product of your environment always. You know, I think everyone is presented in life with a light, you know, and a path. And so, like I said, it takes films like this to show that this is not, our people are not one dimensional, you know what I mean? And neither are our young people. And that's what being from Baltimore, being an artist who came out of Baltimore, like that's what Be More means. You know, being more than what people, you know, try to label you as. And so that's, you know, that's my outro, you know, be more. When the odds are against you and you have nothing, you can be more. You can do it. Because I am a living testimony of coming from, you know, making something out of nothing. Like, seriously.
That's so dope. That's so dope. So when these credits are rolling, you know, at the end, and people have watched it and they're just like, man, this was amazing. What is sort of like that overviewing message that you want people to sort of take from this film?
I just want people to know that we're out here. We are, you know, amazing, educated, cultured creatives, despite what the world tries to, you know, show on camera and media. And come visit the city. Like it's a beautiful place, and it's so many beautiful people there. It's my home, you know, and so you know, without a doubt, I think that Dark City Beneath the Beat is going to really open that window for the world to see Baltimore in a different light.
So awesome. So awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you have not seen this film already, you need to get your tickets, get your vouchers. Yeah, MilwaukeeFilm.org to see Dark City Beneath the Beat. You know, it's so beautiful. I had the opportunity to watch it, of course, to prepare for this interview with TT. Like I said, I couldn't sit down. The way that everything is weaved together is just it's so masterful. You know, just real quickly, TT, what's next for you? You know, how can people stay connected to you?
You can definitely follow me on social media at TT the Artist. I have a lot of new content I'm getting ready to put out, and I would say follow the journey. You know, it's just follow me. TTTheArtist.com.
TTTheArtist.com. What's your social handles? You know these folks. They know the socials.
All my socials are TTTheArtist. TT the Artist. That's Twitter, Instagram, all of them, YouTube. And on Facebook, it's facebook.com/I like TT the Artist. And Dark City, our Instagram for Dark City is Dark City Be More. That's BMORE.
Such an amazing film. TT, I appreciate you so much. Like I said, once again, if you haven't gotten your tickets, get your tickets. Yeah. MilwaukeeFilm.org to see Dark City Beneath the Beat. Yeah. Shout out to Black Lens Milwaukee for sponsoring this as well in connection with the 2020 Milwaukee Film Festival. Yeah. Follow Kothi Dance Company on Instagram at Kothi Dance Company and Facebook at Official Kothi Dance Company. If you're not, that would be lovely as well. This has been beautiful, TT. I thank you again so much for just spending your Tuesday evening with us. I'm sure this is going to be a treat for everyone who is watching and who will eventually tune in to see Dark City Beneath the Beat. Yeah, you be safe, all that good stuff. Much blessings to you. We want to make sure that we can get you to come to Milwaukee soon. Yeah. We would love to have you. You know, much love to everyone in the film, you know, and just really executing a beautiful vision. So thank you once again to you, TT.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much for the opportunity.
Much love, okay?
Same to you. All right, guys. Take care.
Take care. Peace and blessings, everybody.
Peace.